So now I'm going to show you how to create the plan that we just used. Here is the plan that we just used, and here is a new plan. I've just called it 2. So the first thing I'm going to do is, as you can see, I've got a PowerPoint loaded up in here. So I'm going to come in here and use my Embed File tool. Click that, and it's going to say, what do you want to embed? Well, let's pop into where I have it in my workshop. I'll just do this whole PowerPoint. And it says it's going to be loaded into the whiteboard. First, it has to be converted to a whiteboard file. This is the same message you see when you load it, essentially, from the classroom in the Load Content button. So I'm going to say yes. And then it's going to ask what kind of screen size. Well, just choose your monitor resolution. That's fine. In fact, my monitor resolution is much higher than that, but that's okay. That's a good standard size for many screens. So I'm just going to say OK to that. Now, it's going to open up PowerPoint and do all of the conversion, as you can see right now on my screen. And there we go. And it's loaded in. This means when I open the plan, you can see it's already ticked to load automatically. When I open my plan in the classroom, it will load up automatically and show you the first slide. So it's in there. But how do I do anything else with it? Okay, that's where we get to use these other tools. So first things first, note to self, start recording. That's here on this little text item tool. Click that and just start typing. Start recording. There we go. Now I'm going to add my tools. So that's a bigger, bolder font, so I shall use the topic tool, topic text tool. So my new topic is tools, which I've done in all caps, and it's bold, as you can see there. But if I keep this highlighted, it'll continue to put things underneath it. So my tools are my timer. So I go into my actions, click actions, hover over timer, and just say start the timer. Now this is cool, actually. I wanted to set this as 3 minutes. I don't think it needs to be any more than 3 minutes, and I do want it visible to participants. So that's cool. I didn't do that in my other plan, but I've done it now. Next action is to stop it. And we go to timer, and we go to stop timer. Simple as that. Now the next structural part of the lesson, I will put in bold type, and it is my starter. Okay, and what is my starter? It's actually a URL. So I'm going to say, where is it? Web tour, go to URL. Now, what URL? All of a sudden everything's turned red. Well, let's see. I don't have it in my clipboard, so I'm just going to pop over here and get it really quickly. I'll just highlight all of this, and I usually hit Control-C. Yep, you'll have to hit Control-C to copy it. Click back over here and Control-V as in victory to paste. So Control-C to copy, Control-V to paste. I actually believe that's how you have to copy and paste into the web tour itself. If you're doing it live in the lesson, you have to use that Control-V. You can't just right-click and select paste. So that's good to know. Now, go to web tour. Well, this could be any old web tour, so I'm just going to click in here and say what it is. It's the Angles Game web tour. Now it's specific. And now I can say the next action I want is to publish this web tour to the URL. To the chat box. But again, I'm going to say which one it is. It's the Angles Game, and I'll just delete web tour URL to the chat box. Alright, now that's specific, and I can tell this belongs there. So if I start moving things around, and I go, oh gosh, where did that? See, now it's telling me right here, you can't do that. It's not referencing anything. So I've got to move it back down. 1, 2, 3. And now it'll clear up because it understands which URL to publish. Cool. Next structural title is Objectives and Main Activities. Groovy. And what do I want it to do? I want it actually just to go to the next slide. Okay, so the action is a whiteboard action. Go to the next whiteboard screen. Now, just so I know which screen that is, I just put a little dash and objectives. And that just tells me what it is. The next one is a reminder. Since I'm coming off of WebTour, it's just a little reminder, so I'll use this italicize tool to click on whiteboard, just in case I forget and panic in the middle of a lesson, which I've done before. And I know I need to click through the next 2 slides, so I'm just going to put that as a notation. Click through next 2 slides. Now, I could just say go to next slide, but you know, you don't want your plan to be longer than your screen, so you want to try to keep these comments and the actions to a minimum. The next thing I've got is, now normally this would say click through the next 9 slides, or whatever you have planned for the students. The next thing I'm going to do, the next structural section, is the stretching. So I can say 7th inning stretch. That might be too American for you guys, baseball term. So I'll just go, you know, stretching time, or time for stretching. And so then I'm going to go to the next slide, because I happen to know that that is the next slide in my PowerPoint. And I'll just, again, say that it's stretching pictures. Great. So now I know what that is, and actually if I move this over, you'll be able to see. It does say pictures on it. Okay, next thing is the polls. So let's put us a title. Polls, or polling. And the next thing you want to do is set the poll type. So just like you would do from the Tools menu in the classroom up here, you can do here. So you go into Action, where is it, Polls, Set Poll Type. Now we don't want it to be yes or no. We want it to be A, B, C, D, because we know we have 4 possible answers. Back to Actions, Polling. Let's hide those responses from the participants so they don't see them. Fabulous. Now these are little notes telling me to go to the next question and answer. So I'm going to go back to whiteboard, go to the next whiteboard screen, and again I'm telling myself this is, I'll just say Q1. This is question 1. I want to go, oops, my bad. Oh no, that's correct. No, that's not what I want to do. So I clicked the wrong icon, no problem. I'm just going to hit delete on my keyboard to get rid of that, and it'll say, you sure you want to delete it? Yes, indeed I am. So back to Actions, and whiteboard, and go to the next screen, because I know that's where I have the answer to number 1. So question and answer, and that's what this says. Now here's an option. You don't have to do it, but I like doing it. Students kind of like it. They get to see what they've done. I'm going to publish the poll statistics to the whiteboard, and again I can just go ahead and denote this is for question 1, or QA1, question and answer 1. Great. Now, note to self, you must clear the polling so that it's all blank. Whoopsie. Let me get these back up on the screen for you. Clear the polling so it's blank for the next question. So again, you want to go to your Actions, Polling. Oh, sorry. You can't do that through here. That's why I have a note. Okay. Clear polling. Great. On to the next slide. Action, whiteboard. Go to the next whiteboard. And we know this is for Q2, question 2. Go back to the next whiteboard slide. Again, I'm just following my nose through this and clicking on next whiteboard. And this will be the answer to question 2. Fabulous. Now we're going to publish those again. Whenever we feel like it, we just click on that once we're in the classroom. So now we're down to here. Alright, we've gone through pretty much our whole lesson, and it hasn't really taken much time to set this up. I hope you see that. The next thing is we are going to go to our plenary, and we know we need to go to again to the next slide. Oops, go to next slide, and I'm just going to name it so that I don't get confused in the midst of my lesson. And I know I want to click through the from the initial slide into one more, so I shall say click through one slide. Fabulous, that's this. And now we want to go to our second web tour. So I'm going to take a look at this web tour. Go ahead and copy the URL, again with Control-C, pop back over to this one and say web tour, go to URL, web tour URL, and it's red again because it says, hey, this isn't complete. So to complete it, Control-V as in victory. There's my URL. Again, let's name this go to Angle's Mission web tour. And now we can add the action in the web tour of publishing it to the chat box. And again, let's be specific. I'm going to take web tour out and put in Angle's Mission. Fab. Alright, that takes us down to here. Now we can assign homework if necessary, so that becomes another topic point. Assign homework. And if I'm going to assign homework, I know that's going to have to be listed on the next whiteboard slide. So I go there, and again I say this is for homework, so that I know what it is. And another little note to self. Click on whiteboard. Now I'm just doing that because to get you guys used to going from web tour back to the whiteboard, but you will know to do that after a while and you don't have to put these little notes into yourself. The next thing I want to do possibly is publish the game URLs to the chat box. So another little note, publish game URLs to chat. Then that is officially the end of the lesson. Or how many ends in end? There we go. End of lesson. And then again, just my notes that say stop recording. And then I will click it again for the next one, which is make sure everyone is out of the classroom. That was just my telephone alarm telling me to do something. I shall click it again. Close classroom. These are all my little reminders at the end of every lesson. And complete attendance register. Of course, if you're have a Warwickshire student, you could add another one. Complete CLM attendance. Okay, and that's only if you've got Warwickshire students. So there it is. I'm done. Now all I have to do is save it, which is here. Save the session plan, and I'm ready to go. Here's one more thing I want to tell you. Let's say instead of starting this automatically, you don't load it automatically. Now you can see it's red because it's not really pointing to anything. So underneath start recording, I'm just going to say, you know what, I need to load a file into the whiteboard. This is the same as load content in the classroom here. Load file into whiteboard, and it's saying, well, what file? Alright, this is particularly useful if you've got several different PowerPoints, or you've broken your PowerPoint up into constituent parts to make it easier. So I go, well, I don't know, what have I got? I click on these little ellipses and it shows me what I've already embedded into the plan. So I'm going to choose that. Choose. Now everything straightens out and it's all good to go. And really, I can't click and drag this up there. It won't go any further. This is where these icons really become useful. So I'm going to pop it up there. So that just says the very first thing I need to do when I get into a classroom is click this so that it will load my PowerPoint. That's if for any reason you don't have it loading automatically. Okie dokie. Now if you do say load automatically and you do click this, you're going to end up loading it in twice, which just takes a lot of time and is not necessary. So I hope this has been a good introduction to how to build a basic plan. Chris is going to go over much more detail, how to do many more different actions, breakout rooms, application sharing, figuring out your screen size for application sharing, if you want to share just a region of your screen, various things. Oh look, you can even get this thing to start your recording for you. I should have done that instead of made a note to myself. So that's quite cool. Alright, there's a lot that you can use to explore, but Chris will guide you through those. Thank you very kindly.